Hello everyone, hope you're doing very well. So I've got an exciting little series coming up. So I'm going Ibiza in 7 weeks today. So I'm flying out on the Friday the 26th of September. So what I'll do a weekly sort of series just of me just trying to get as lean as possible for the holiday. I always think if you're going to like a public place, it's always good to be in sort of good condition. You know, you don't even want to making the place look untidy. So it's time to get in like some decent condition. You don't have to be shredded or anything, but I think you should be a decent level of body fat. But yeah, so I've just actually a little update on me. I've just come back. Well, I've actually just finished a 4 week deload, so I haven't done a deload in absolutely ages. To be fair, um, it's one of them. You're either stuck in like two mindsets of you being a pussy, carry on training, or you're just sort of saying, yeah, sort of like oh, you're not even that tired, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Or you're on the other boat of sort of taking a deload just like far too often. You know, if you're the type of person who just sort of puts a deload in, and like plans it every sort of 8 to 12 weeks, then it's sort of like, are you even really training hard enough if you're planning that deload in straight away and you're not just going based off how you feel? But yeah, so I am absolutely itching to go. I tried to have no caffeine as well, but that didn't work. I had two monsters as well because I wanted a little caffeine reset. But I'm about to have a little scoop of pre. I'm about to go train upper body as well, so I'm actually excited to go and train. You know, they feeling good. The joints are actually like feeling all right. To be fair, it's a bit of a shocker one for me. The knees are still a bit ruined, but I'm sure if I get some BPC 157 in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure they'll be back to life in no time.
All right, just pulled up to the gym now, and I was actually saying to someone before then. I was like, oh, imagine if you have like 4 days off the gym, you have a deload, and you come back and you have like a proper shit session. And I was just laughing. I was just like, yeah, imagine. But apparently on a deload, I was doing a bit of research on it. Like depending on how much fatigue that you either like have like 4 days off and you bounce back and you feel fresh, or you've built up so much fatigue that 4 days you actually peak in fatigue, and then you need more like a week off. But I don't think I was that tired. I mean, that's for probably like a lot stronger lads like bodybuilders. Maybe if you do stuff like powerlifting or strongman. But yeah, I reckon I'll be sweet. But yeah, it's time to crack on. Face is tingling like mad from that pre. But yeah, I'm excited.
And that's another session done. So yeah, it was a good one. It's one of them. It's just win the day, which sounds so cringy, but it's like win the day and then hopefully win the week, and then before you know it, you've just done 4 weeks of absolutely smashing it, and then you've done a full year of basically just getting after it. I know that I had like a 4 day deload like this week, but still, it's in the plan, and you've still stuck to your meals, you've still stuck to your steps, and you've executed the week as best as you could do, and then that's what's going to get you the best results. So I was speaking to someone yesterday just about sort of a little bit about bodybuilding and then a bit more about sort of like finding your passion. And it's gonna be a little bit off topic, but I think it's needed, and it's sort of a bit like sounds a bit, I don't know, one of them. But I used to sort of like say before, like I found like bodybuilding or like my passion. I used to wake up on like say a Saturday or a Sunday, and I just lie in bed all day. Like even if I woke up, I'd just go back to bed for like another 2 hours, and I'd sleep for like 10 hours a day. And that's because it's simply I just didn't have like any reason to sort of get out of bed, even though I was training. You know, even like say 2 years ago, I was training and stuff. Only recently, I've sort of really fallen in love with bodybuilding and the whole process of it. And I think a lot of people, I'm very, very fortunate to sort of find my passion and sort of have a reason to get out of bed each morning. You know, some people just coast through life and just like don't really try and do anything. You know, these are the type of people who just work all day, and you can kind of see it in the office. You know, the people who don't do anything outside of work, their whole life becomes work, and they're the ones who get the most stressed because they just put so much pressure on themselves to sort of be as good as they can in work, and then they don't sort of have like a stress reliever or any sort of external sort of dopamine hit, you could say, because of not achieving anything else outside of work. And I was just thinking as well, that's why I think so many people are just sort of like lost because they don't have a passion, you know. And that's why I sort of advocate for so many lads to sort of get into the gym, which is why I've done the sort of gone down the personal training route, because you know, I was thinking if I didn't have bodybuilding, I'd just be completely lost, and you don't know what type of person that you might become. You know, a lot of people just get sucked into the party lifestyle. You know, it's so easy to just go out sort of every weekend. You know, if you've got loads of mates and they're all just going out every weekend, it's so easy to just sort of get sucked into that. And then taking all other stuff, doing extracurricular activities and doing stuff like that. And then before you know it, you might have wasted your whole of your 20s just going out every weekend, and you look back and you've just got nothing to show for it. So with me, I grew up as a swimmer. I was sort of known in school as like sort of the kid who swam. And then I swam up until about 14, and I weren't really enjoying it, and I stopped for about 2 years. And then I went back once I finished my GCSEs because I'd done pretty shit in them. And I was like, well, I'm not the smartest lad, so I'm going to have to do something else with my life. So then I went back to swimming. And then I swam from 16 all the way up until I was around about, I think it was 21, and then lockdown kind of sort of had another sort of break in it. And I was just thinking, the I felt like I used to swim to make other people happy. And if you're in a similar situation, if you're doing a sport where you're sort of making other people happy and you're not making yourself proud, then I'd make that jump. I'd change and try and find something else. And that also could relate to sort of your career as well. You know, if you're doing a job that you don't enjoy, then I'd 100% look at changing it. Especially, well, that depends on a few things. You know, if you can move and then get equal pay, you know, because if you do a career change at like 30, you're going to be starting on like pretty low salary again. So I'd sort of think about that as well. You've just got to find a sport that you're passionate about, and that you've got to have a reason to sort of get up in the morning. That's something just sort of like something that gets you going, you know, something that you want to chase, want to pursue, something that you actually truly love. Because if you want to be the best at something, you've really got to love it. You know, I like swimming, but I didn't love it. You know, I was doing it sort of to make other people happy. You know, I started swimming like most people start swimming because of the parents, or some other reason. They might be like just like learn to swim, and then they carried it on because they enjoyed it. But with something like swimming, if you're staying at a black line up and down the pool all day, you've really got to love it. Otherwise, you just end up getting sick of it. And I think I've only swam a handful of times since I've left, and that's quite a common thing with most swimmers. You know, they absolutely hate it once they've finished. But ever since I've sort of taken bodybuilding a lot more seriously, well, I did my first bodybuilding show in 2023. And then when I came off stage, I was like, wow, this is definitely for me. Like, I am so happy I found my passion. I remember messaging one of my friends saying, oh, this is just like definitely for me. I absolutely love doing this. Um, but recently, I've just even more fallen in love with the process and the routine, and how rigid it makes me. You know, I used to be sort of like a really bad night owl. You know, I used to stay up late till like 1, 2 in the morning, you know, on a Friday night or a Saturday night if I had nothing on, and even if I weren't going out, I just enjoyed staying up late. I used to stay up till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, just because I had nothing else to do the next day. Even though I was training, I still had nothing else on, really. You know, if you're not working on a Saturday or Sunday, you can just do whatever you want, really, and then you're back to work on Monday. But yeah, I've just really fallen in love with it just because it's mad. It gets to like half 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh, I need to go to bed because I've got training tomorrow, and it's going to affect my performance, and it's going to affect my result on stage if I do compete next year. And yeah, the whole point to this is just basically me saying, just absolutely try and find your best, to try and find something that you're truly passionate about, and something that gets you out of bed in the morning. Because I've had a big sort of appreciation for bodybuilding, and I don't know what the right word, like a culture shock, if you could say. You know, I've kind of just like changed my whole life around. You know, I used to drink every now and again, but the thought of having a drink now, it's like I only do it on special occasions. Say if you're going on holiday or it's your friend's birthday or something like that. If you're just gonna go out on a Friday or a Saturday randomly, I'd just be like, no, there's no point, because it'll affect me training sessions, and then it'll have a small impact, still an impact, a small one, on if I step on stage next year, um, which is it's a good thing to feel, because it keeps you grounded and it keeps you level, which I really like as well. Saying that, I am going to Ibiza in 7 weeks, but I think you've still got to live your life. I'd much rather, you know, be a worse bodybuilder and lived a great life. You know, some people absolutely love bodybuilding, which is absolutely fine. Like, you crack on, you do you. I'll support them 100%, and they're the people I follow on Instagram anyway. But for me, it's like having a nice balance. I'd rather be a 90%, well, 85, 90% bodybuilder and enjoy like 70% more of life than being 100% dialed in. Um, but yeah, moral of that little tangent, just try your best to find your passion, and if you do find your passion, go all in with it and then give it your absolute best, because you never know how it might turn out.
Session done, that was a good one. Yeah, I'm happy with it. The deload definitely done its job. I just need to definitely work on some classic posing. I'll have to get a coach soon, because yeah, some of the poses, I think personally, I think classic posing, certain ones are definitely the hardest ones to get right 100%. I think some of the easiest ones to get right, probably just like maybe like a couple in men's physique and then a couple in like open bodybuilding, but then some of them are quite hard, I reckon, in classic. So yeah, definitely need to work on it. I've never actually practiced it other than like the one or two, but yeah, I've got like a year to get good at posing, really. So I've got a fair bit of time, but yeah, you need to start now really to get good at it, because it does take quite a while to get good. And I'll just end the video here. So I really hope you enjoyed the first episode of this. So yeah, I'll put another episode out this time next week on a Friday probably, and then yeah, obviously next week it'll be 6 weeks before we go, and I'll keep you updated with how much I'm weighing and how I'm looking as well. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.